Hello everyone. It's gonna be, as you can tell from the title, it's gonna be quite a different video than normal. But that being said, I don't upload a lot of videos anyways. So, still, I'd like to talk about something that YouTube has affected me a lot. I am a guy who spends a lot of his time online, and unfortunately, that has led to me stumbling upon less than desirable influences. And like people have talked about this a lot on the internet about how they escaped the outright pipeline of Ben Shapiro and all the other alt-right speakers. But the process of getting out of this pipeline to me is almost as if it's a coming of age story of my own, I guess. So I would like to talk about it to whoever is listening out there. So let's start from the beginning. And there is this competition on television in the country I'm from, Vietnam, where they answer questions to win prizes. It's a very popular competition. It's very highly selective, and it's on national television. So it's a very popular game show. And me and family used to watch it every single Sunday. We sit together and watch and try to answer some of the questions along. It's quite a fun show to watch. So, what I observed was there were many girls in that competition. So naturally, I asked my parents why weren't girls on the show. Well, there could be many explanations to this. Now I would know that it's a lot of social pressure and STEM in general and academia and higher academics isn't very welcoming towards women. But at the time, I didn't know that because I was a kid. They said it's because as time goes on, girls are not good at studying as boys. They said that, for now, they can be on the same level as other boys, but later on, girls are girls, they cannot perform as well as boys in school. Then, I don't know, being the impressionable kid I didn't know that was wrong. There were also more instances of how people surrounding me treated women, and that made me believe that there was an inherent difference. I didn't know what that was. Vietnam is a very conservative society with very traditional gender roles. And it still is, and it still was back then. And when I was in class, this was a bit later on, all the girls had higher scores in literature than math, so that led to me believe that boys were the ones with logics and facts, and this is when I started to become more active online. Before, I used to only watch YouTube videos for educational purposes, I remember. But from this, I looked into online, and the more I read online about this, somehow, because the algorithm of the internet, back then it was very well designed to lead you down to a rabbit hole, because the more you search something, the algorithm sees that as, okay, you want to look at this, right? But that is a result of the bias that I already had from a very young age due to societal effects. But it views as, okay, this is what you want to watch, and then it's gonna keep recommending more videos like that. So I just stumbled on the video, and then the more I watched those kind of videos, you remember back in, I don't know, when Trump first came to power, 2016 or something, there were all these videos of feminist rage compilation getting owned, part 3 out of 100 or something. It perpetuates the idea that being masculine and masculinity is the opposite of being emotional. Looking back, thinking about all the other girls in my class back then, I think it was a cycle of girls being told that they can't do STEM, which then discourages them from performing well, and then validating the status quo even more, and then perpetuating the narrative even more that they cannot do STEM. So I fell into that narrative. I just believed that inherently girls were worse at doing stuff like that, like factual stuff. So on more of the things I watch online, I stumbled upon a Ben Shapiro video of him debating some college kids about gender. Right?
For all of human history, boy meant boy and girl meant girl. Boy did not mean girl. And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Okay, if I redefine our terms.
I found it very amusing how he confidently states the differences between men and women. He was saying things like gender is a fact and not a social construct, and those things validated towards my feelings towards gender at the time. I was really dumb. I believe that, okay, because I'm a man, right? I believe that I'm a boy, therefore I am good at STEM because I'm a boy. And I was good at doing math and science and all that stuff. Moreover, there was a bigger problem of, well... Hello, editing me here. I just want to say that what I was trying to say in this segment, I think, was that because I am a man, therefore I am good at logic, and therefore I am a man, which is a very dumb thing to say. But yeah, it just goes to show it's really hard to make sense of something that is emotional, and it's actually not logic at all. I started to fail literature for some reason. Maybe that's a result of already the biases telling me that, okay, men are not supposed to be touchy-feely and all that stuff with their studies. So maybe that's the reason, but nevertheless, I started to fail in literature class. So I was like, I didn't feel well about it. So I just started blaming it on the inherent differences that, you know, boys can't do that and girls are just better at being more feelings-wise, you know. It doesn't, what I'm saying doesn't really make sense, because that's how my brain processed it back then. It was a very dumb process, because I was pretty dumb at the time. I thought it was smart. I thought that, okay, if you're good at school, then you're good at other things as well. But turns out you're not. Turns out a lot of the people around me are a lot smarter than me, even though I did quite well in class back then. Yeah, so I got tricked by some of the most basic logical fallacies ever presented by Ben Shapiro, because he validated my feelings. The thing that Ben Shapiro often says is, facts don't care about your feelings. And I gravitated towards that. It further perpetuates my idea of STEM and other facts subjects being more superior than literature and all the feelings that you have just in life in general. Facts don't care about your feelings, facts are superior, and you should live a life where facts lead you. Yeah, and then, you know, combined with the inherent misogyny of the videos I was watching by Ben Shapiro, men are more often, I believe then, that men are more often than not right about things. And being right means ignoring feelings. Therefore, being a man is ignoring feelings, which is a very sad thing for a kid. Let me stress again, I was a kid back then, to believe in. And then I went down the rabbit hole even more of Jordan Peterson, who often hides his blatant misogyny under his use of quote-unquote academic language. Nowadays, he doesn't even hide it anymore. He's just a blatant misogynist and a transphobe. But back then, he had a little bit of grace. Funnily enough, he often talks about taking personal responsibility of your life by doing things such as cleaning your room or to make yourself happier. But I didn't listen to that because it didn't validate my feelings. I didn't listen. I only listened to things that validated my feelings, which is fun. And I also watched quite a degenerate person, Paul Joseph Watson, who is a conspiracy theorist and one of the main editors of InfoWars. Yeah, that InfoWars with Alex Jones, with his whole flurry of outright talking points. He like outright anti-Semitic outright kind of guy. I didn't believe in any of the anti-Semitic talking point back then because I didn't even know what a Jewish person was. But because I'm a kid in Vietnam, very conservative society, just very closed in. All the people look like us, very one culture. Not a lot of diversity here, which is a bad thing. Which is why I've come to appreciate diversity the more I get to experience it outside of Vietnam. And I fell down some of the most degenerate corners of the internet. All of this could have been avoided if I wasn't A, chronically online, and B, exposed to misogynistic ideologies when I was younger. And these videos are extremely addicting. It feeds into what you want to hear. They rile you up, they paint an us versus them picture, and the viewpoints are extremely simple, but the thing is they're very regurgitated. They are repeated time over time again to make you not want to question whatever they're saying, so they can just ignore all of the logical fallacies that they're making. Another interesting thing that I think happened is that trying to force you to believe that emotions are useless, they do that because they let you think that by believing them, you are being factual, you're not being manipulated, because you're not using your emotions, if you're using facts. Oh, well then you're not manipulated then, right? Well, it turns out, you can manipulate people by using that, because we're not aware that we're actually just everything that we do is based on emotion. But if we ignore it, we are not aware of the emotional reactions that we're having, that I was having back then as well. So that's causing me to believing in all this crap. Well, for example, all of the people I mentioned above, Paul Joseph Watson, Jordan Peterson, and Ben Shapiro, all that dudes, when they talk about abortion, the single argument that they have is that an embryo is a life form. Wait, why is it a life form? When does an embryo become life? Who draws the line? What even is human life? Well, God knows. They don't know. We don't know. That's why it's such an intriguing debate. But they they just completely ignored women's rights in all this debate. But even then, if you take away the most crucial factor of arguing about abortion, there's still the question of what even is a human life, which is very philosophical. I don't think any kid would have the ability to process that. I can't process that now. So it is what it is. All these intricate philosophical questions get thrown out the window, and instead, all they do is say the same thing over and over. An embryo is a life form, therefore abortion should be illegal. I mean, the alt-right loves to boil everything down into a simple rhetoric and then draw people up behind it. Which, on that note, which is very anti-scientific, right? Science is all about asking the question, observing, forming hypothesis. We all know the scientific process. Well, it turns out school didn't equip me well enough to understand what science really means. For me, science, STEM, math, all that stuff back then meant doing paper questions on papers and performing well, which is not the case. So yeah, that's another way I was failed. There's more to life than school. What can you say? So, how I got out. I think it was a gradual process. It is a lot of just growing up and understanding, just becoming smarter, asking questions, learning from the people around me to see that what I was doing was quite wrong. So I could say there was a key moment in all of this. There was this girl who was really good at math. She was insanely good. Like, She was in the special class for like high achieving math students, and she performed really well in that class, you know. But the thing is, the class required you to skip normal classes, and then when you come back, you would have to meet the teacher, and it's kind of awkward. I don't know why. Maybe the teachers are a bit offended by the fact that, oh, okay, you're too good for normal class then, or something, which is kind of dumb. You know, why would you be offended by that? They're out there just trying to get education, like all of us, you know. That's just plain dumb. Nevertheless, let's get back to the topic. Got along with her pretty well. She was kind of, you know, a friend. But one day out of the blue, my literature teacher, our home group teacher as well, just screamed at her for liking math. Just no context whatsoever. Just start telling her that no girls like that should do math. You know, like, so the student broke down crying. Others came to cheer her up, and the teacher just walked out of the class. Why would she do that? I to this day, I don't know why would she do that. There must have been like some insane repressed misogyny inside of her, or something. So that strikes me as just being plain evil. Why would you try to diminish someone like that? And later on, I then realized that the rhetorics that I am believing in is actively doing harm towards math and other STEM subjects, and especially the people who are interested in them. People are being directly affected by the talking points that I am believing in. And I didn't change completely right then because I'm dumb. I was dumb. I still am. But that incident, that made me realize that I had some problems. And along the way of believing into all this misogynistic bullcrap, I also lost a lot of female friends along the way. I pushed them away due to my views affecting the way I treat them. I view them differently. I undermined a lot of their abilities and view them as less logical than whatever I was saying. So I would get into arguments with them, and then I took them less seriously, and that deteriorated my relationship. I don't blame them for just, you know, ditching me and hanging out with somebody that doesn't treat them like that, you know. And I deeply regret that. But we all went to different high school by then, like when I got out of the entire pipeline. So I have no chance to fix that now. Yeah. So let's talk about the present, what I'm doing now. Of course, I don't view women that way anymore. It sounds really weird when you're trying to justify that you're not a misogynist. It's very weird. I think that hopefully some of my friends who are watching this, if they sat through this long, some of my friends who watch this, don't view me as a misogynist. I hope that you believe me when I say that I have changed. And I do think, genuinely, that I have changed. As a result of realizing what I believed was wrong, I got in touch with my personal side again. And I realized just how much of everything I do is based on emotion. It has always been that way. I looked for the feeling of validation in right-wing speakers, a feeling of superiority in believing that men are better than women. I was enraged in many conversations about gender, and all of this is not logical in any sense. What I am doing is a emotional response. But fundamentally speaking, being emotional isn't wrong. It's just that you have to be aware of it. You have to be able to control your emotions, but to be able to control your emotions, you can't just say facts don't care about your feelings and then ignore all of your emotions. You can't ignore something and then try to control it at the same time. It took a long while to learn that. I realized that for a long time I had this very narrow view on masculinity, one that agrees with Vietnamese views of masculinity, being strong, tough, cold, unemotional, etc. I don't make the rules. I didn't realize this, but it made me very uncomfortable in my own skin. And for a long time, I don't know if it makes sense, but I could not have the full human experience. This is a very odd way to put it. But looking back, there was so much more of childhood that I could have experienced if I wasn't so obsessed with this masculinity and femininity thing and all of these things, politics thing that no kid should touch. Just simply put it, I didn't feel fully human for a long while. I don't know if I feel human now, but I would like to take a look at a movie called A Silent Voice, called Grano Katachi. For those who you don't know, this is an anime released in 2016 that explores the theme of guilt as a former bully seeks redemption and connection with a deaf girl who he once tormented. It is a great movie. I think everyone should watch it or read manga. I first watched it when I was really young. I saw the movie and then I thought, okay, it's just another romance anime that has a bit more sad moments. Okay. I was young. I thought suicide was dumb. Clearly, I have come a long way. So, oh, by the way, suicide is not dumb. Damn. But one day, quite recently, I think a year ago, I just decided to watch it again, and it became one of my favorite movies of all time. I really resonated with the theme of guilt in the movie, as by then I have become deeply regretful in my earlier beliefs. My behavior and obsession due to my radicalization in the past have caused me and others so much trouble. And there is only one movie that made me cry. I had not cried in years before, and that movie is Koi no Katachi. The scene that moved me was the final scene of the movie. How I interpret it is that the main character finally being comfortable in his own skin, opening himself up to others, and the X's that appear throughout the story represent the isolation and alienation that the characters feel, particularly by the main character, Shoya. And these X's that cover people's faces is due to a struggle to connect to others due to his past actions as a bully. And when it all falls down, that is him living once again. To some extent, when I watched that scene, that was the mark of me becoming alive again, because you can't live without emotions, right? I haven't felt like that in a long time, so I couldn't keep it in myself when I watched the scene, and I just had to let it all out. And I don't know, genuinely, I haven't felt more alive. Well, that is an over exaggeration. I have felt alive multiple times before that, but that is one of the most alive moments that I had in a long time. So since then, I have become much more open towards my friends. I try to empathize with others more to become a better person. And if there is anything that I want to end this video on, to be in touch with your emotions is to be human. That is something that I have repressed for a long time. Yeah, be emotional, guys, and talk about it with friends.